Hello, everybody, and welcome to the POAP Community Call number 22. I don't know about you, but it's feeling 22. I don't know. I feel like I delivered that very poorly, but hello, everybody. I am Mr. Mojo, welcoming you to tonight's call. Happy to have everybody up here, and we have a great hour of POAP content for you tonight. Superphiz, welcome on. You've been up since 3 a.m. because of another community call that we had today, but hello, you're here with me.
Was that today?
Somehow.
Yeah, well, I'm glad it worked out.
It did. We were doing a Eastacre community call for the Ropston merge today, and it took a little longer than expected, but we made it through and got past the finish line.
Believe it or not, that was today. We did wake up that early for that today, and it was like 3 hours long.
Yes, someone else on that call too, Nixorokish. Hello, welcome to this one as well.
Hi, happy to be here.
Amazing. And JENetics, always lovely to have you on.
Hello, hello. I have made it.
You have made it, and Frankie, you're up here, so say hello. Good to have you as always.
Hello, hello. Happy to be here.
And our special guest again this week is going to be POAP COO Isabel. Hello, welcome back up.
Hey, Mojo. This week I'm not a special guest. I'm just one of the guests.
Okay, so just
guest?
one of the guests.
This week I'm just a normal guest.
Just a normal guest, not very special. Well, I think it's always special when you're able to come on. So, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to actually go ahead and mention the Slido that we use. So, Slido is an application that we use to gather questions from everybody. So, you can go on here, you can put anything that you want to ask us. You can even upvote any questions that are already asked to put them up to the top, Reddit style. No need for you to participate in that, but we do like it. Helps give us a gauge on what you want to talk about. And while we may not hit on it today, there are definitely times where we will want to, and we have definitely in the past used questions from it to help us know what you want to talk about.
I kind of love and miss the Slido.
Yes, it's something that people don't interact with enough, unfortunately, but I do want to get back to it, and I want to be able to use it for when we need to.
I have a question. Is this the same Slido we used in the beginning, or is it a different?
Yes, it's the same one.
Oh wow! So it's just cleaned up. That's awesome.
Yes.
I would like to put more time into that. Thanks.
Yeah, I have cleaned it up so that some stuff that we have moved past is off of there, and things that aren't really relevant are no longer on there either. So it's pretty much a clean slate. But all right, JENetics. We distribute a POAP on this community call every week, and we use the DGen bot. Do you want to tell us how it works?
That we do. So we do DGen POAP distribution. DGen distribution requires you to remain on the voice channel for at least 10 consecutive minutes. We encourage you to engage with the community in the chat channel that is down at #community-chat. And that's more than just GM or great AMA. You're going to get snarky replies from us because that's just who we are. Do not deafen yourself. That's the little headphones. Don't click that button or it will reset or restart your timer. And do not hop between active POAP events that will disqualify you from getting a POAP. If DGen decides that you do not qualify for a POAP, DMing us requesting a POAP will also not get you a POAP. I cannot help you. I'm sorry. DGen was developed by Bankless DAO, and we greatly appreciate that.
Yes, and we will also be helping us prep. We will also be prepping to help them test their premium POAP feature next week, and we will talk about that at the end of the call when we are claiming our POAP for this week. But okay, so we are going to go ahead straight into our first major news topic of this week. So, for those that do not know or had not noticed yet, the POAP app on the phone received an update on Monday. So the newest release of the mobile app has a feature that was requested by a lot of users, and that is the ability to sort POAPs by the mint date. So originally, whenever you looked on the mobile app, you would see it say, for example, right now it would say June, and then the POAPs that have the event date in June, and then the POAPs that have the event date in April, and so on, May and April, and so on and so forth. And so now you're able to switch it to when you actually minted it. So if I minted this POAP today from the call, it'll show that I minted it here in June. Or even, I would say a good example, my eStaker Challenge token. It has an event date that is January of 2021, but I didn't even mint it until like December of 2021. So originally it says that I minted it in January. Now it shows it's more in line with my mints in December. And I also have some pictures handy as well that I will upload to the community calls chat, which is where we talk during this call, showing off what it looks like. So originally, you see it goes by the event date. You use the drop down menu, and then now it's going to show your most recently minted POAPs. And it's great, something that people have been requesting for a long time. And then other things in the changelog were the addition of cryptographic validation for Wallet Connect, as well as some user experience enhancements. But something that I want to discuss while we're speaking about the mobile app, what are some other features that would be nice to see in the mobile app? And I think the first one that comes to mind for me is being able to easily see the event ID of the POAP. That's something that really gets me. I don't necessarily like having to go to the POAP events page or the POAP gallery. I forget which one it is. I always figure it out once I get there, but you search by the event, and sometimes you can't even find it based on the title. You copy paste the title, and you can't even find it. So it's very, very difficult sometimes.
Yeah, the event ID is so stinking important, and yeah, I can spend hours sometimes trying to get it. Even though I have a bunch of special tools or like tricks to find it, it can still be frustrating.
Yeah, for example, I was showing off that random raffle that came out a few weeks ago, where you use POAPs to do your raffles very quickly, and you have to put in the event ID, and I couldn't even find the event for one of our community calls. So that's how difficult it can be sometimes. And yeah, getting a hold of that event ID can be kind of difficult sometimes. So being able to see that on the app would be very, very nice and helpful, I think.
You know what I think would be cool? It would be very cool to be able to see who you shared the most POAPs with.
Isn't that in the POAP Meet app?
It's entirely possible. Is it? It is. Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
It's cool that
I think it's
there. So it doesn't.
external. Oh.
It doesn't actually work on my phone because I don't know, the last update broke it. So I would look in it, but I can't.
Oh no. So I know POAP Meet is developed as an external application. Kudos to Kevin, who's been a part of the development of that. But yeah, I think that the feature you're talking about is indeed only available on POAP Meet, and it's something that we definitely should think about rolling into the main application, although no guarantees.
Oh, cool.
One thing I will say about the POAP mobile app is that something that works really well with it are the IYK devices that some of us were able to get a hold of. And Jen, this is something that you wanted to talk about with us today. You want to talk about IYK at NFT NYC and the IYK POAP cards with me. So I'm going to go ahead and let you start off. Let's talk about this.
Absolutely. Yeah, so if you guys haven't seen IYK is this amazing, they have them on discs or pucks. They also have them on stickers. They also have them, sorry about the noise. They also have them on these little cards, plastic cards. And all of these things you can either load them with POAPs, so it's a POAP dispenser, or it can have an NFT on it. It could be like a website, and all of these are RIFD chips or near field communication. They don't require any type of power to run, and they actually use the power from the phone to work. So as long as there's no metal really close to the phone or the chip, your phone powers the chip, and that's how it communicates with your phone. So as long as your phone's unlocked, when you touch your phone to the card, it will generate a POAP, a new link to a new POAP on your phone, and so you can mint a POAP. What I found is that this is an incredible way to easily share POAPs with people for the first time, especially at events where you're networking with people. And the I met so-and-so POAPs, or like what we call business card POAPs, where you might be like from a business and you can, we had somebody from my company, Ultrasound Merch, at VCon, and they were giving out t-shirt POAPs. And those were, like it was a spinning t-shirt. And so people would get these spinning t-shirts as a POAP. And having one of these IYK devices was so much easier than either doing the QR codes that you had to like try to scan with your camera with phone reflections, or, you know, doing the stickers, and there was a cost associated with the sticker, although who doesn't love a sticker? So all of those things were really cool innovations, and IYK is one of the companies doing it.
Yeah, and I'll have to say that your point about it's a great way to introduce non-DeFi users to their first DeFi experiences, this kind of draws back to the flywheel effect that we spoke about a few weeks ago, where you have a little win here and there. This is kind of also socially, but for POAP in general, you have a company, they make this device that helps distribution of your product. That's a small win, and now here we are, we're going around and we are saying, hey, I have this card that distributes a POAP. Do you want my POAP? And they go, what now? What's POAP? And you tap it to their phone, and boom, there you go. They were able to get a POAP right there. If they already have a wallet, then they can go ahead and mint it to their wallet, but they can even reserve it to their email address, and then that email will tell them how to mint it to a Ethereum or just to a Web3 wallet address. So I think it's great. I think it's something that definitely I would love to use more often. I don't go out to enough events to use it per se, but definitely something that I need to load up a new POAP on and go around and give out. Superphiz,
Yeah.
You've given out the physical cards where they basically look like little coasters, like cup coasters, and they have the QR code on the back of them. If you had something like this initially, would you have even took that route?
No, I wouldn't have, because the coasters are a lot of waste. I call it coasters. Is that what we call them? So I put those together like last year before we had anything really NFC related, and you know, I was really excited about it. I was really proud of it, and then you know I realized everybody's really doing things NFC style. But what I found is people didn't know if they were supposed to take it or give it back to me, and I didn't know either. And then like I have 50 of them in my pocket, and some of them are used and some of them aren't used. And so I felt kind of terrible about the waste I was generating. So it was a neat concept, and I'm glad I did it, but I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah, at NFT NYC, POAPathon actually reached back out to IYK because for Bankless DAO at Permissionless, I reached out to IYK and I said, hey, can we use some of these discs at Permissionless and do a POAP scavenger hunt? And it turned out to be crazy amount of fun. And so myself as POAPathon said, hey, for NFT NYC, can we do it again, but through POAPathon? And so this time we're going to do it again using the discs instead of the cards. So the discs, it's the same concept, but they'll kind of be, you know, quote unquote hidden at locations throughout NFT NYC. And you'll be able to go, and when you find them, or their designated supervisor, because at Permissionless, somebody did make off with one of those pucks. And once the POAP is done, like its mint date has run, the puck is dead. Like there's no use to it. It's just a black plastic disc. But
it's permissionless, right? So why not just take one? You don't need permission.
That's true, and we felt so sad for the IYK team. We were like, we're so sorry. But once you find the person who is the designated supervisor of the POAP dispenser, you'll be able to mint a POAP right there, and it'll be great fun for people at NFT NYC to be able to get POAPs, because we know at NFT NYC there are going to be a ton of POAPs being distributed.
Yes, and I really love that big black button. I feel they work better than the cards, but I think it's just because you're able to get more of better antenna into the big dome instead of the tiny card. But we used a bunch of those at the Newstaker gathering in Amsterdam, and it worked out fantastically. We were able to give people POAP for attending the event, for going to the sponsorship booths and stuff like that. It worked out really well for us, and always looking forward to using their technology more, and glad that people are able to get their hands on these IYK cards. And so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to post the tweet that actually inspired us to have this conversation today. Is there anything else that you want to talk about NFT NYC related, Jen?
I know that we had been talking a lot about with this is not something we talked about ahead of time, guys. So surprise! POAPathon doing the Pogs and POAPs at NFT NYC, and due to time and market, the reception of getting Pogs into NFT NYC just didn't materialize. So we're hoping that doing this treasure hunt is a way to do that instead. So if you are one of the community members that is listening to this call, or in the audience that did prepay for Pogs and you're angry, please don't be. We're trying our best. Also, we are still going to do something with the treasure hunt with the Pogs or with the POAPs. Can we call these things Pogs? They're not,
I
but
think you can call anything Pogs, can you?
probably. I mean, it is a copyrighted name. Pucks.
It's
It's
really-
Pucks and POAPs.
I didn't know it was copyrighted, but I feel like anything circular, standard, and circular, you can call Pogs.
Yes.
I don't know. I thought there was like this huge dilemma about that, where TAP wanted to like buy the rights to the name Pog or something.
Yes, the International Pog Association upped their copyright of the word Pog in a certain font, and we didn't get it. So
Which is crazy
sad
because
day.
that name comes from pineapple, orange, guava, from like the drink that was in Hawaii.
Yes, exactly, and it turned into a game.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy that they were able to take that and like copyright it like that.
yeah. But if you would like POAPathon to design your company, your organization, your project, your whatever, yourself, a POAP for NFT NYC, don't forget to reach out to POAPathon.
Yes, and get your art for your POAPs done through them as well. Okay, so Nixorokish, looks like you're next in line on the agenda tonight. So you want to talk about how sign-in with Ethereum could make POAP better. The floor is yours.
So we're looking at this Spruce ID article, and the part where they mentioned POAP. So basically, what sign in Ethereum is if you go to a website and you see the little button that says sign in with Google, you'd be signing in with Ethereum instead. And the benefit of that, as far as I can tell, is that instead of, if I go to Facebook, sign in with Facebook, Facebook has all my data. They own all my data. It's even their choice if I get to download my data. And if you go sign in with Google, it's actually Google who has your data. And so if you're signing into something like Facebook with Google, you don't actually have to give Facebook your ownership over your information. So that's better with signing in with Ethereum because you own the data. The company that you're signing in with doesn't own the data. And so these can be gated communities. So you could use POAP to say only people with these POAPs can sign in. And what is that site that it already has that? Is it Nifty? No. What is that chat site? Superphiz, you know it.
Oh, it is Nifty.
It's Nifty
Yeah.
Chat. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, Nifty chat. like that. You could create these gated communities with POAPs. And I honestly, I read through these two articles. It's a two-part article. And I'm not entirely convinced that this is cool because I wouldn't necessarily want a wallet experience. I like the anonymity of signing in with a wallet and them carrying no data with you. And I get that it's annoying that you can't like have preferences. You can't specify light mode versus dark mode and have it be there when you get back. But I just, maybe someone can argue with me about this. I just fear that if I start signing in with a wallet that carries a bunch of data in it, that the site that I sign into is going to gate me with, you can't sign in unless you give us access to this data. And I like not being able, I like them not getting that information at this moment. So I feel about that. I do like Nifty Inc. I do like being able to sign in and like chat with people who have different POAPs and like similar POAPs to me, but sign in with Ethereum, I'm not entirely convinced. And I didn't find this a convincing article. I don't know. Someone changed my mind.
Sure. So I read both of them too. And I guess I could play devil's advocate if that's what I need to do. So basically, the concept that's being talked about here is being able to pretty much, in a nutshell, this would allow you sign a free message and you authenticate yourself on a dApp, and then it allows a dApp to remember the preferences from the wallet itself. So you can basically set preferences within your wallet, and that will carry over to all of these dApps that you sign a free message for and you sign in with Ethereum. And so it sort of knows who you are immediately, and it can go ahead and curate experiences right off the bat based on data from other places, I'm assuming. Or I guess it could just do basics. I feel like this is one of those things where it could work out really well if you did keep it to very basic stuff. I know that some websites, they just use cookies to make sure that they know you want dark mode or stuff like that, but it's interesting to think that maybe your wallet could hold that instead. Now, something that makes this pretty good for things like POAP is, like you said, Nixorokish, you can use a person's authentication to show, okay, they're actually here, this is what's on their wallet, all right, so I verified that they have this POAP, therefore they're allowed to do this within my dApp, and things like that.
I'm interested how Nixorokish recognized the potential for weaponizing your own data, which I think is one of the fair hesitations of soulbound data. So obviously, like, we're looking forward to ZK technology where zero knowledge technology where you only need to show what you want to show of yourself. But there's also that scary potential of someone saying, if you want this thing that's very valuable to us, you're gonna have to give us some, a little more. And that is kind of weaponizing our data, which makes me a little nervous. I hadn't even thought about that before.
Yeah, I mean that's how I feel about when I download an app and it says we need all of these permissions, and I have like a super finicky phone that's de-Googled and doesn't give a lot of permissions, and if it can't give a permission to an app, the app just doesn't work. And so they do gate it by saying like, we want to be able to track you in this way, or you can't participate.
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of weird when you download an app on the phone and you first log into it and it does ask you for permissions, and you're like, why do you need to know my contacts? Why do you need access to my microphone and my camera and stuff like that? There's some apps where I have no idea why they need them. Thankfully, you can use them without giving permissions most of the time, but you are right. There are some apps who, unless you give them every permission in the world, they're just like, well, you can't use our product then.
To wrap it back around to the pros rather than the cons. So you own your data, which I have a question about that in a second. And standardization in general is great. It's great to not have to create 100,000 different accounts. It's great to not use a password manager and be like, geez, what email address did I use for this account? Or I called a hotel that I had booked and they were like, what email did you use? And I'm like, I have no idea. Let me go check. But one of the questions that does anybody know the answer to this? If the data is not on chain and you're carrying it with you in your wallet, where is it?
In the cloud.
I really wouldn't
Say the
know.
question again, please. I thought I was tuned in, and then if one more time, please, Nix.
So it said that there was an insinuation that the data isn't on chain because it's sensitive data and you don't want all that data to be public about you. But if you're carrying it around in your wallet, exactly where is that data? If the site doesn't own it and your wallet controls it, where is that data if not on chain?
Honestly, it's probably being controlled by whatever hosts that wallet address.
Yeah, AWS.
So if
Again,
it's a
looking-
MetaMask, it's whatever MetaMask runs on. So that's what I
well,
would think.
that doesn't entirely sound like I own it then.
I don't know. That's a great question. It's not one
Well,
that I would be able to answer.
I
Maybe
think-
it's the concept of you may not be in possession of it, but you are in control of removing it. Maybe that's the insinuation.
So I don't have the private keys. I have the withdrawal keys. I don't know. I think for this to be convincing, I think that more elaboration would be needed. But in its present state, as something like that gets you onto Nifty chat, I like that implementation of it.
All right. So, is there anything else that we want to say about this in particular before we move on to something that's using a similar style of this to actually do what this article describes could be used with sign on or sign in with Ethereum? All right, doesn't seem like it. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. So to kind of keep it within the vein of sign in with Ethereum, the Ethereum Foundation, they are using POAPs to give discount tickets to DevCon 6. So the EF, they are using a product that is built by POAP as part of their application for discounted tickets at DevCon 6. And so I'm going to go ahead and give this link right here. You can go to devcon.poap.xyz and connect your wallet, and then you will sign a message confirming ownership of your POAP collection, and then you will go to the application for a builder's ticket and you will copy and paste that message into that section as proof. And I will go ahead and give that application as well, just in case anybody's interested in looking at it. But a few things that I want to say about this. So the discount ticket opportunity, it's going to be open now until June the 30th, and the builder tickets cost $299 USD or DAI, and the regular general admission ticket costs $599 USD or DAI. And those won't go on sale until after this discount ticket is already done. And DevCon 6 is going to take place at the Agora Bogota Convention Center in Bogota, Colombia. And you can look at this blog post with some initial details for the convention. And I think it's cool that the EF, they want to use POAPs to give back to the builders of the space. I wonder if there's a spot where they show which POAPs can give you a discount. I didn't see anything like that. I wonder which ones they would like.
You know, I think it's easy to gloss over this and think of it just as a coupon, but it really is a more advanced use case for POAP that kind of says the Ethereum Foundation values people who are engaged in the community, and we, being the Ethereum Foundation, want to more include the people who have been engaged in the past, because it's so easy for people who maybe aren't involved in the ecosystem to just snag tickets. But this is just a really great way to use on-chain data to reward people who are active on the network.
I love it. I love it, especially because it's not so much a problem during bear markets, but at least during bull markets, you've got a ton of people just going to conferences. And like, I know Bogota isn't like a hub. I don't know that. But I know that Bogota isn't as centralized as some of the other conferences that happen. But it kind of keeps it as a developer conference rather than people attending the conferences just to get alpha and extract more value than they put in.
Yeah, what I like about this is that the people who are participating the most, they get an opportunity to actually be rewarded for their participation. And in this case, it's people who are helping build on the Ethereum network. They get an opportunity to go to this conference where it talks about all the stuff that they're working on at a discount, and I think it's great. It kind of also leads to more quality participants at the event as well, because you have people who have been there and done that and who are actively working on the stuff that are being talked about at these conferences, so they have a deeper understanding of what's going on, and you have more quality conversations because of it. So good on the EF for reaching out to POAP to help give discounts to the builders in Web3. All right. So we have a community discussion topic this week. It is about POAP and soulbound tokens and things like that, leading to a new optimistic vision for the future and create something that people can be part of without being part of the financialized ruft. So Nixorokish, you wanted to champion this, and I think Superphiz, you'll have a lot of good things to say, but you want to go ahead and fill us in on it, Nixorokish?
Sure. This was a reference to a tweet that Vitalik posted that I'm posting in the chat right now. That was just talking about sign-in with Ethereum, ENS, POAPs, and SBTs. And I really like that he's talking about the Ethereum identity space because like we were kind of talking about earlier, it's easy to weaponize people's data, and it's just I really want to be able to prove that I'm a human without giving an amount of data that I'm really uncomfortable with. And that's what ends up happening in today's world, because the only way to prove that you're human is to give a phone number and a home address and your social security number and all of this really ridiculous stuff that people aren't responsible with. And then they lose or get hacked. They lose your data or get hacked. And then they email you and say, hey, sorry, we got hacked, our bad. Here's a $5 off coupon on our identity theft services. Your home address is now on the dark web. And I like that that POAPs and SBTs give you the opportunity to prove that you're a human without actually doxing yourself. Like, there's no reason that somebody has to know your name or your national identification number to know that you're a single human or to know that you're a real person. And there's so much that's wrong with the world today, right now, because of bots. There's political division that has been furthered by fake profiles on social media that people engage with because they anger bait them.
Did you say
my own have been subject to that, and I've watched that, and it's.
Did you say aggravate?
Anger
bait. Anger bait.
Anger bait. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you made up a new word that was a cross between anger and aggravate. And I was really excited.
No, I'm going with that. So aggravate, they aggravate them. But the amount of spam calls and spam text messages and spam emails, all of this could be not solved, but very much
mitigated
by the idea that someone can prove that they're human without having to give data that they are hesitant to give. If you could prove that you're a human without giving anything that you felt was invasive, I think it would be a lot easier to gate things like cell phone numbers or anything that somebody can use to access a service. So SBTs would be really cool, but also I don't think we're quite ready for SBTs because people keep equating them with non-transferable NFTs, like a non-transferable POAP, which I don't think is a great idea because nobody wants to be associated with one wallet address for their entire life. But you could be associated with, go ahead.
The other thing in there, and I wondered if you were going to bring it up because it reminds me of I think David Hoffman posted it in response to Vitalik maybe a week ago or a couple weeks ago. It was the Star Wars meme, the princess, where she's like, you mean if I get soulbound tokens, I can still send them away, right? And the implication being that there are like punitive soulbound tokens. Like, let's say that you're like convicted of a felony, like that could be attached to your soul, which it's one of those things that like on some levels I think it's good and healthy, and on other levels it gets back to what you're saying about like who has access to personal information about you on a soulbound token that you may not necessarily want to share. Like a felon is not going to want to be associated with an identity that has a felony on it.
I mean, yeah, it even gets scarier than that because even if you were a felon and you got transferred this non-transfer, you got given this minted this non-transferable NFT that you didn't want. At least that comes from a legit source. But the idea that the fact is, if you had non-transferable NFTs, anyone could send one to you. So there's no guarantee that, like, I don't know, anyone could put anything on your address and all of a sudden your address is spammed with a bunch of stuff that you don't want on it.
Like imagine so something terrible like you're something terrible. I was gonna say like something very private to you, like maybe you're maybe you have a different sexual identity and someone tagged your profile with that or your soulbound identity with that, and you weren't comfortable with it, but you couldn't go back.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, so I hate the idea of non-transferable NFTs or something that like binds you to a one address for your entire life, but also that has to be dealt with in some way because it would be a gateway to uncollateralized loans to be able to say, look, if this person did not pay back their loans, they would have an NFT or a POAP in their wallet or whatever that said that this person doesn't pay back loans. And if you can just transfer that out, then those aren't worth anything.
I still think that, and I probably disagree with Vitalik on this. I still think the best and nearest future for Soulbound is not non-transferable NFT. That it really gives the most control to the individual and not to society. So maybe you have the potential to send it to a burn address, but not to another individual, or somehow erase it from your record because people. The whole movement is about empowering people, not necessarily capturing them, I guess.
Yeah, because as soon as it becomes about capturing them, we have undermined the entire point of why we chose to transition away from Web 2 and away from the traditional banking system and into this like weird, underdeveloped like space that is exciting because of that, because of how much control we have over our own identity and our own finances.
Yeah, I don't think that non-transferable soulbound tokens will ever really catch on willingly. If they did, it would be something that was imposed by a government, and it would be something that I would actively resist, just based on principle. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to say that within Vitalik's Twitter thread, one of the things that he was talking about was as groups grow larger, they, of course, they attract more people into their group, and they also attract more attention towards their group, and that having to interact with other groups that have differing opinions or thoughts is basically going to be inevitable once you reach a certain size. And he talks about how, if I can gather my thoughts here, I do apologize. He pretty much talks about how using the identities that we create on Ethereum, that we can help ourselves stay in these smaller groups so that we can still basically make sure that we're able to be part of groups that we want to be part of. So instead of having to be totally part of these huge collectives that we may not necessarily identify with anymore, we're able to take our soul and align it with things that we can more so want to be aligned with. So I don't necessarily believe that like Soulbound is going to be non-transferable. I think they're just going to be things that they're going to be like a category of NFT or a category of POAP that sort of says, this is what is important to me. And they're going to be sort of like a more prominent style of NFT as opposed to something, like I said, you wouldn't transfer. You'll use them to show your alignment to small groups instead, or even large groups, but you'll be able to sort of use them to show who you are.
I also want to plug in here real quick just to bully Superphiz a little bit. That Superphiz and I started and might finish a reading of that paper so that not everybody has to read it. You could just listen to it in the car. We will see if we can if Superphiz isn't always busy and we can schedule some more time to read it.
You find that to be bullying? Like if that's your game, like you need to up your game a little bit. You gotta back up that punch with some heat.
If you wanna listen to it in a week and it's still not uploaded, message Superphiz and be like, what the hell?
Oh, okay. No, you win.
Yes.
No, I really do want to record it. I've learned so much from the first 4 sections that I like. Well, I've learned more reading it out loud than I did reading it to myself. I definitely want to finish that project. It is something I want to lock up.
I would
Please
also
don't
like,
message me asking for it.
yes, I'd also like to say, so Nixorokish, you talk about seeing the pessimistic side of things. A quote from Vitalik in this Twitter thread is, he mentions that today's culture is being more, quote, driven by fear of dystopia rather than excitement about positive visions. So maybe
Shit, I am all doom, aren't I?
yes, I wouldn't let the fear of dystopia get in the way of your excitement about the positivity that could be brung from things like this, but it definitely sort of brings about the discussion of how can we respect this delicate situation that we have. I feel like responsibility of keeping things good, air quote, it's a whole layer 0 thing that I'm sure Superphiz could talk about for 3 hours if I gave him the chance, but we do need to move on. So, Jen, we have one update from the POAP ecosystem today, and you were going to talk about it, so tell us about what's new in Charmverse.
Absolutely. So if you're not familiar, Charmverse is a place for DAO contributors to coordinate day-to-day work, sign in with crypto wallets, unlock workplaces with DAO tokens, NFTs, and I'm guessing you can guess it, gate things through POAPs. That's right. So when you set up workspaces within Charmverse, you can gate them by POAPs. It brings together onboarding, bounty management, proposals, project trackers, and data repositories in one place for DAOs. And this project has raised 3.8 million seed round to build and scale, which is quite a good amount of money in the VC world. So the co-founder, Alex, of Charmverse describes his experience in Web 2 around centers of power, which he calls the mothership. And we already talked about tinfoil hats this episode, so you don't need to get them back out. Keep your tinfoil hats under your desk. In Web3, Alex experienced the freedom of a non-society where our contributions is what made us matter most. And he sought to develop Charmverse to help the Web3 world, I guess, function at peak performance. So if you want to learn more about Charmverse, let me drop some links. The Twitter post that I'm going to post has some beautiful graphics in it. Papa! And they also have the article in which the co-founder talks about the mothership, which I found was very interesting. Gating. So I was recently on an NFT space call, one that doesn't use POAPs, and I mentioned that you could gate Discord with POAPs, and they were like, "The what?" And they were shocked. And I was shocked that they were shocked. So the fact that a lot of entities around the space don't know about these innovations happening with POAP is one of the reasons that I like jumping on Twitter spaces and being like, "Did you know? Did you know?" And telling them about these innovations. And I'm really glad that Charmverse is also getting on that bandwagon and including that on their development of this platform.
Yes, so from what I've seen, it's basically like a Web3 style Slack, if I'm not mistaken, with a lot of, it's basically just a lot of Web3 things being well integrated into a business planner style application. It's pretty cool. Slack is something that I had to use when I was in a coding boot camp. So that was the one and only time I used Slack, and I thought it was pretty useful. It helped me separate my work from my play. I think Discord's more of my play, but now it's also my work too. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
Yes, this is great for having that kind of space with Web3 integration, and they got another $3.8 million in their seed round. So amazing, good to hear. So, is there anything else that we would like to talk about with Charmverse, or should we go ahead into the POAP Spotlight for this week? All right, I'm going to take the silence as it's time for the Spotlight. So, something that POAP does every month in the POAP newsletter, they like to round up some IRL events where you can go and earn POAPs, and in tonight's Spotlight, I would like to talk about them. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the first one. So, NF Tuesday LA, that's how I'm going to say it. I'm sure it's NFT Tuesday, but I'm going to say NF Tuesday LA. They meet on Tuesdays in Los Angeles, and you can join them at the El Cid from 7 to 9 p.m. to listen to guest speakers and talk about NFTs while earning a POAP, which I'm going to go ahead and give you the POAP and the information to see them. I'll give you their Twitter. How about that, everyone? So if you are in the Los Angeles area and are interested in that, you can go every Tuesday. So Crypto Canal, they meet every month for anyone that is interested in expanding their understanding of cryptocurrencies, blockchain fundamentals, consensus algorithms, if I can say that, consensus algorithms, hot wallets, cold storage, and more. You can look at their event page to find out when you can go earn their POAP. And here's the POAP that I have for you this week, everyone. And here's their events page on meetup.com. You can check out when to go to their events for a POAP. So moving back to California, San Diego NFT Friends, they meet every month for those interested and curious about Web3, NFTs, and the crypto space. Give me 1 second, everybody. All right, so their Discord link. I'm going to go ahead and give you their Discord, because that's where they want people to go to learn information about their meetup. And here is the POAP that they give out for showing up to their events. And also their Twitter. Wow, so many links for everybody. I really want everyone to be involved with these, obviously. Okay, so here in the next one that I have, so NFT Club Berlin. They hold events in Berlin, Germany. In their events page, they give you all the necessary details to attend their POAPs. From what I looked at, they had quite a few things that you can do. So something for those interested in the Berlin, Germany area. All right, so next up, in St. Petersburg, Florida, NFT Thursdays. They meet every other Thursday. You can go meet others in the space, share your project, learn about NFTs, and make friends while building a community. And you can follow them on Eventbrite to be reminded of when they will meet up and when they will give out any POAPs. Crypto Curious. They meet on Tuesdays and they hold other events in the San Juan, Puerto Rico area. And these events, give me 1 second, y'all. So these events, they are perfect for those who want to know more about the blockchain and Web3. You can also follow them on Eventbrite, and you can learn about when they have POAP earning opportunities available to you. Again, that is in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And then finally, the last one that I want to show, the Blockchain NFT Crypto Group. They meet every last Wednesday of the month in New York City. This is a good opportunity for those looking to speak about ideas and network with like-minded people in the blockchain, NFT, and crypto sphere. They also have a meetup events page for you to be able to stay on top of their POAP events. So hopefully for some of you, this is something that you were able to go do and look at. Again, these are in LA. They are in, it is Amsterdam, Netherlands, I believe, for Crypto Canal. San Diego, Berlin, St. Petersburg, Florida, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and New York City. So hopefully, again, that's a good opportunity for everybody, and thanks for listening to the IRL event POAP Spotlight this week. But okay, there's not really too much left on the agenda, but we do have some prep for the DGen Premium POAP feature that we are going to be testing next week. So, to give a brief overview of how this is going to work, the DGenBot Premium POAP feature is going to be used for distributing the community calls POAP next week, June the 15th. And currently, this feature uses transactions on Polygon's Mumbai testnet. I'm going to give a link to a Medium article that explains how you will add the testnet to your MetaMask. And then once you do that, you're going to want to go to the Polygon faucet for some testnet-matic. And whenever I did it, it was pretty easy to set up. I went the automatic route. I typed in Polygon into the browser on the website that it told me to go to. I clicked over on the testnet tab so that I could see the Mumbai testnet. Then I went to the faucet link to get 0.2 Matic. So this allows us to make sure that you're still able to get your community call POAP free of charge. There is nothing that you need to spend in order to get the Mumbai testnet Matic. Anybody that tells you otherwise is trying to scam you. Again, this is a totally free method to get our POAP next week. We do ask you to go ahead and set this up because without it, you will have a hard time claiming your POAP from the DGenBot next week. And John Valjean, and hopefully Slinky Potato as well from the DGenBot development team will be on here to help us walk through how to do everything so that things can go as seamless and smooth as possible while we help them test out their premium POAP bot feature. But as for this week, you will be able to claim it normally, and we have about 4 minutes left. Is there anything that we want to talk about before we start our POAP distribution?
Did everyone see the Vitalik's tweet of how to pronounce POAP?
Yes. Is it
Um,
POAP or POAP? Personally,
I think it's been decided.
which one actually ended up winning? I said it's POAP, obviously.
POAP won by far.
Okay, great. I don't believe it should be pronounced POAP. It can, whatever you want to call it, it's up to you. There's no right or wrong way per se, but I do prefer to call it POAP.
I'm going to disagree with the fact that there's no right or wrong here. It's like GIF versus GIF. One is just right.
Thank you. Yes, there is a correct and an incorrect.
There is
Yes,
a correct
so-
and incorrect.
Somebody did call us Popathon recently, and I thought, oh, that's great.
The Popathon, yes.
Popathon.
That is straying sort of to something that I don't want to talk about. I don't like talking about religion up here too much, but yeah, it's POAP, not Pope, personally. But if you want to call it Pope, it's Pope. To get a POAP next week, do you have to take a test net? Yes, for next week's community call POAP, we will be using the premium POAP feature through the DGen bot, which requires you to unlock the mint link. And in order to unlock the mint link, you will send 0.1 test matic to the address it tells you to send it to. And
So,
again,
I have some ideas
it's
for
free
next
because
week.
it's from the faucet. So, yes, Superphiz, what are your
A couple
ideas?
of ideas I'd like to talk about next week would be so this idea of premium POAPs, like would you pay for a POAP? How much would you pay? Would you donate for a POAP? And also the idea of using Bright ID. So those end up being like spam prevention versus Sybil resistance. Like those I think are really valuable topics for this kind of forum.
Yes, I think that's definitely going to be a great community discussion topic for next week. It's
I
something
might see
that
if I can find some other people to chat with us about it too.
seems good. Yeah, it's definitely something that we attempted to do today with the Robston Merge POAP, where you had to make a donation in order to acquire the POAP. And so far, it seems like $1 really wasn't much of a deterrent.
Wow.
So that's pretty interesting. But all right, seems like we're kind of rolling up on the end of our time with everyone. So Jen, do you want to go ahead and talk about how everybody can claim their POAP for the call this week?
Absolutely. So with DGen, you're going to go to the channel POAP-claim. That is the channel POAP-claim. It is right below community calls, and you're going to do /claim. That's right, /claim to get your POAP. It's as simple as that this week. Next week, it's going to be some jumping through hoops. We're going to have to re-record our screen shares of all our cool files that all of us have done to make life as easy as possible for you guys. But this week, you get to do the good old-fashioned /claim. I have posted a GIF that has /claim. /claim. Did I say /claim? It's /claim.
Yes, and again, next week we will be here to hopefully guide everybody through the process of getting through and claiming your POAP next week. I'm expecting some hiccups on that, but it's something that we'll have to discuss up here, how much time we will allocate after the call to help troubleshoot that, I think.
Yes, yeah, especially since, let's see, next week, we're good. The week after that, I won't be here. I'm sorry.
Oh man, so
no.
some alpha in advance not going to be here 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Well, that's
At
good for
some
me to know.
point, we need to just be willing to say, like, it's okay if you don't get a POAP. Like, I know that everyone loves to collect them, but like, there's no guarantee that participation gets you a POAP. It is what I like to call, an honest effort. So
Yes.
um,
Well, I also see it this way too. We're trying to help the DGen development team test their product as well. So sticking around to help them get some kinks out of the system should hopefully help them make their product better. But all right, so that should be it from all of us tonight. It was great being up here as always. Thank you everybody for talking about POAP and what it is doing this week. I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.
bye.
Gross.